Before the episode begins, I wanted to add this short preface to clarify some things. If you don't want to listen to it, I'll put up a timestamp so you can skip it. But I voiced the entire documentary, so you'll have to listen to me anyways. The original documentary is made by Der Einzige. His channel is linked in the description. It is in German, and I translated it into English with his permission. Some other things that I just want to point out, the documentary uses a lot of information that is on Drachenlord, which is a website that aggregates a lot of information. It is a little bit like the Quickie for Christian, but obviously a lot smaller. That means that some things might be missing in the documentary just because they are either not on the Drachenlord or they are generally just lost. And there also might be some inaccuracies, either in the original documentary or in mine, because I made a mistake in translation. If there are any grave mistakes and I get notified about them, I'll try to add clarification in the description to correct these mistakes. And with that said, I'll leave you to it, and I hope you enjoy the first episode of this documentary. What fascinates us about him? What made him into the person that he is today? What motivates people to hate him and to visit him? MacLeod, this is the story of Drachenlord. Drachenlord. Real name? Rainer Winkler. Born on the 2nd of August 1989 in Neustadt an der Aisch. Together with his sister, he grew up in his parents' house, located in Altschauerberg, near his birthplace. His father, Rudolf Winkler, worked as a truck driver, while his mother, Rita Winkler, took care of the household. Not much is known about his early life. Most of the information is based on Rainer's own statements. It is important to mention at this point that there is no good way of verifying them. When Rainer was about 1 year old, he fell seriously ill. According to him, he was running a fever of about 41 to 42 degrees Celsius. However, he was not admitted to a hospital, but rather recovered at home. Rainer went to a kindergarten in Emskirchen. He was born in August, which is during summer break, so he spent an extra year there. A year later than his peers, he was ready for enrollment, which usually meant going to the elementary school of Emskirchen. But before that happened, he took an enrollment test, which was arranged by his mother, according to him. Because of the test results, he was advised to get special needs education. He was allegedly diagnosed with dyslexia and attention deficit disorder. It's important to mention at this point that the relationship between Rainer and his mother is very strained. Because of that, it is questionable whether his mother actually arranged the enrollment test. It is also possible that Rainer already showed problematic behavior when he was in kindergarten, which could have resulted in his mother, Rita, being advised to get him tested. Starting special needs education was very hard for Rainer, since he didn't know anybody and he would have rather gone to the elementary school in Emskirchen with the other kids. This made him behave badly as a sort of protest. Quote, Ich habe mich dann 2-3 Jahre lang aufgeführt wie Sau. He would later go on to claim that he was frequently being bullied. Not only did his status as a special needs kid make him an easy target for the other kids in Emskirchen, he also hardly had any friends in the special needs school and was always an outcast. He also cites this fact as a reason for him frequently skipping school, which got to the point where he was on sick leave for almost an entire year and also missed at least 1 day a week throughout the 6th, 7th and 8th grade. Rainer especially had trouble with subjects like German and maths, because according to him he was more interested in history, social studies and geography. The school that Rainer attended in Bad Windsheim put its focus on fostering learning, language and emotional social development, which lets us deduce that Rainer already had severe problems with at least one of these as a child. He received his individual certificate on the 21st of July 2006. which means no actual modern secondary school diploma from the Sonderpädagogisches Förderzentrum in Bad Windsheim. The certificate shows that it had come to a bunch of conflicts with other classmates, and that he had issues integrating with the class. He also skipped class frequently, especially physical education, which led to him receiving the grade ungenügend, insufficient, which is an F. After leaving school, he was unable to find work for a long time. Eventually, he was hired by a company where he worked at for about a year, which is around the time when his grandmother died unexpectedly. Half a year later, fate struck again when his father was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Rainer would later go on to often say that he was influenced a lot by his father, but he also described their relationship as not loving and they had problems and fights for years. Quote, mein Vater und so und ich sind nicht so gut klargekommen, aber ich habe kein Problem damit, wie es war. Allegedly, his father once threw a hammer after him in a violent fit of temper, which only barely missed him. Nevertheless, Rudi did form Rainer's ideals and serves as a sort of role model. Rainer claims that he also gathered practical experience from his father in things like forest work, for example felling a tree. One point of contention between Rainer and his father was the internet. Rudi didn't allow for the household to get an internet connection, even though Rainer wanted that. Rudi died of prostate cancer on the 2nd of July 2011 at the age of 57. Rainer inherited the house, including the barn and adjacent buildings, from his father. He apparently also inherited a large sum of money. His mother and sister moved out about a month after his father died, because his mother already had a new boyfriend, according to Rainer. With that, he was left behind with his grandmother, who needed to be taken care of. Because he was overwhelmed with the situation, he arranged for her to be put into a nursing home. It's important to mention that we only know Rainer's, sometimes contradicting account of the events around his father's death. There are no known statements from his sister or mother concerning these occurrences. Now, with merely 21 years, Rainer's life with no parental authority began. Alone in a large house, how would he use his newly gained freedom? What would he make of his life? The stage was now set for Drachenlord as we know him today.